Hello, welcome to another week at the bungalow. So we're continuing with the roof deck. So last week we got all the main structure done, all the parapet wall upstands done, and the cladding with the OSB. So if you missed that, up in the top right hand corner, be a link there for you. But this week we're getting the main deck on, so the 18mm OSB glued and screwed down onto the fairings. And then we'll be ultraflexing the top just to give it its waterproof coat. So here we go. So shuffling exercise up on the roof, give us something to walk on, but also be able to get the glue down and the next board in place. We're shuffling around with the ply, the temporary stuff that we've got up there. So lots of moving around. Straight across the roof area with whole sheets. This is the first cut at the far end, just to get it into place. Important bit, trying to get the edges of the board to match up nicely across the joists or on the fairings, so we get a decent support to all the edges. And then we're marking the fairings so we know where we've got to screw down onto, and then a string line will be snapped and we'll screw along the centres. So this is the last bit of the actual roof area. On the right hand bottom corner there, it drops down into the gutter. So as always, we're trying to get the joints as close as possible. As I said before, we'll be filling all of them no matter what the size, just to stop the wet Ultraflex running through the gaps, which you can see there. And then we've got our 45-degree beading, for want of a better word, but like a quadrant that just softens the angle as it comes down from the upstand onto the flat of the roof. And then the quadrant carries on all the way around anything that sticks up, including the roof light. And you can see the sort of scale of the roof light now. That sort of metre by metre and a half is a fair size of that piece of roof. So last bit to go in, screwed into place. And then after a quick brush down, the joints get masticked, just to stop that draining away of the roofing material and causing air bubbles or voids. The mastic's a PU mastic rather than being a silicone. I think there was something written in the instructions when it came to the roofing material that we had to use PU. I'm assuming it doesn't react to the Ultraflex and bubble up or cause any issues. Nice job. And then it's just a matter of finishing off and getting the gutter in place. So this is a nice bit. You've got a nice working platform, nice working area, and it's looking smart. We're very fortunate with the weather these weeks. So fairings get screwed down into place, and then we've got more of the OSB over the top to give us our tray for our gutter. And then of course at the end of the tray we're going to need an outlet for the water. So there's a slightly different one to the one we used on the roof. This has got like a fiberglass matting that bonds in with the roof. Yeah, we thought this one would be slightly better because we got obviously the angles of the flat of the gutter and the upstand of the parapet rather than the drains that were on the roof, which were in a nice flat area, and we could just bond it down into the bottom. So we're drilling through the timber afterwards rather than doing it beforehand. Made life easier rather than having to try and build the timber work around the outlet. And then just the block work wheel to drill through, so we can get that pipe into place. SDS drill and the masonry auger makes light work of this one. And through. So a bit of an angle, and then on the outside wall we'll have a hopper to catch the water as it runs off the roof. And then we start with dressing the roof with the fiberglass matting. Cutting it to fit all the way around all the edges before we can actually start rolling on the Ultraflex. I think it was about one of the hottest days when we did this. Was about 25-26 degrees. So we started early so we could get as much done as possible in the shade, but nevertheless it was still a hot task. It's quite pleasing rolling it on. Definitely one of those jobs that gets easier with a bit of practice. You get the finer details of making sure that the first coat's nice and thick, so the matting rolls down into it nicely, and then leaving it a bit and letting the fiberglass absorb the first layer before you put the second layer on. And as far as these sort of size roofs are concerned, the small roller is definitely the way forward. Get a much more even coat. There's a lot better control than we're using the large one, even with the sort of long handle on it. And it does give a nice finish. So working our way all around the edges, doing the upstands. Was a bit of a race against time, like I said, it was rather hot, and we were making sure that it didn't dry, so you're making sure you've always got a wet edge to work from. And there again, even filling in the larger areas is just as easy with the small roller, and you get a nice even coat. Tends to go a bit thin and patchy with the larger roller. I think this is probably the worst bit, is trying to get the fiberglass matting onto these larger areas, getting it on straight and with no ruckles in it. And then we found, so I got the ladders out and went up through the roof light, just tried to get all the last bits, because of course once you've started painting it, everything gets covered in this grey Ultraflex. All the tools are covered, your gloves, and it does stick like the proverbial. So as we head in, marking our way into the shadows and back into the doorway. So we're sort of rolling back and rolling out, and getting smaller and smaller space to work in. I thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again on the next one.